What's going on, everybody? This is Tai Chi to the People. I'm Coach Jan. We have Mark here. He's back. We haven't trained together in a while. And today we're going to do a group of different Neigong exercises. We're going to mix and match. And so this will give you a nice little workout. I think both Mark and I could use it as well. So let me just pin this and we'll get right to it. All right. And this is my new background. See, action figures and toys and all this other stuff. All right, so let's start with our feet shoulder width apart and parallel. Inhaling up, exhaling out. Inhaling up, interlace the fingers, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. So uplifting heaven. And with one of those, feel that little stretch in the body, and then take a moment just to relax yourself into the stance. You guys have seen that I've had some challenges after a car accident with my lower back, and I've been very cautious and conscious. And even for a while, I was saying that I was concerned about dropping the tailbone down in this posture. So you shift your weight back, imaginary string lifts you up, and I still hold dear the concept of a cascading relaxation down the spine, all the way down through the tailbone. The adjustment I've made is that rather than having the concept of the weight on the tailbone too intensely, I've lightened the weight on the tailbone. Remember, it's just an idea of weight. And I use that only to extend the spine downward rather than flatten the lower back. I'm doing my best to allow the natural curve in my back at this point to exist and to be strengthened. And so soften the knees. There's a slight bend in the knees. My knees are not bent all the way, just a slight bend, and my weight's in the center of my heels. Palms on the facing flat down, and special attention on the middle finger of each hand. Mouth closed, tongue gently placed on the ceiling of the mouth. All the breathing in and out through the nose into the lower down chin, 3 finger lengths below the belly button, or 2 inches. And remember, when you use that focal point, you're inhaling into the centermost part of the body along the spine. So when you inhale here with the base diaphragm, with the belly, you're going to make sure you're visualizing the color visualization entering the centermost point on that level of the body. Feel the breath as a color gathering, whatever intuitively comes to you. Remember, this is the second chakra, not the base, but right above it. Exhale, wash the color down the arms to the palms and fingertips. Exhale, drop the hands. Inhale, breath lifts up again. So we just reset our body, our posture. Exhale out. Inhaling up. Interlace your fingers, exhaling down. Inhaling up, stretch on the toes, out of the hips, out of the shoulders, exhaling down. When you exhale down, you want that color visualization to push up through the arms and down the legs, all of them at the same time. Again, inhale even deeper. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhale out. Inhaling up, stage 1. Inhaling deeper, stage 2. Inhaling deeper, stage 3. Exhale out. And one more, 4-stage inhalation. 1, even deeper 2, even deeper 3, even deeper 4. Exhale, spread it out through the whole body. And we're going to widen the stance. And exhale, pelvis rotates on the femur. Inhale, breath pulls you to the side and up, eyes on the belly button. Exhaling down. Notice that I'm in my half horse stance, feet shoulder width and a half apart. Exhaling down. Eyes stay on the belly button as you lean back. And now reverse it. Remember, the breath should feel like a rope that you're climbing. And that's push hands partner, Hinton Romney Wells. 1 second. All right. And exhale, drop down, inhaling up. And we're going to go right to a one-leg exercise. Exhale, shift onto one side, and inhale up. Golden rooster. Notice one hand is above the forehead, other hand just in front of the lower dantian. Notice that I'm sitting on a bent leg rather than straight. Bent leg, weight mostly on the heel, thigh parallel to the ground. And notice that it's not straight down, but turned out. It's as if I'm wrapping my leg behind the standing leg of an opponent. And notice that this hand is behind the lower back. This hand is pushing up, almost rolling a chin upward. So you're behind the opponent and pushing in front of the opponent here. Exhale, shift to the other side. And when you shift, hips square, and then on one side, exhaling, softening in. You soften in, you feel the weight wrap down the leg, spiraling down the inside of the leg on the muscles into the heel. Ball of the foot, notice that I'm shifting. See the shift right here. It's happening right here. So I'm on the heel, ball of the foot, big toe pushes into the ground, and I inhale up. And it bounces me back. Look at my shoulder going back, and I'm sitting down. And once again, leg wraps around, here behind the back, and right here. All slowly happening at the same time. Inhale deep into the belly. Exhale, push the color through the arms. Inhale the soft part of the arms into the belly. Exhale to the hard part. If you find the knees falling, that's natural. That always happens to me. So you just pick it up higher. If you find yourself wobbly, imagine that imaginary string, visualize it, and then sit. If you find your elbow up too high, soften it to keep the shoulder down. So it's not up, it's down. Shoulder blades are forward. What I mean by that is that here, extending forward. Not up, but forward. Exhale one more time on the other side. Inhaling up. Notice that my knee is too low, so I pick it up a little higher. If you have a mirror, that's great. But if you don't, just look down. And again, see if it's parallel. Visualize a line coming straight out of your hip. If it's below that line, pick it up. And if you lose balance a little bit, it's okay. Just bring yourself to that center line awareness. If your nose itches, just feel free to scratch it. And one more time the other side. Notice the hips here. I put my heel down or the toe down, whichever one feels fine to you. And then, and I do this to remind myself of the clarity of the angles. The clarity of your angles is so important. I was hips, shoulders, square. I dropped the foot down. And then from being square, I cut into the 45 degrees. Look at my heart, 45. And then that 45 spirals down at the same time. Down, 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 down. So now my 45 is down here, my heart angle. And then inhaling, coming up. Ball of foot, big toe pushing up onto the back. All those little, in Shaolin American Kempo, they use the term tick, tick, tick. And they say tick, tick, tick for hip, waist, shoulder punch. You know, and what I mean by that is that each one of them moves at a different timing and all whips, like different parts of the whip going along that curve toward the target. So in a similar way, every time you make a move in your Tai Chi, you want to be able to catalog the feeling, the tick, 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 to clarify with each tick, what is the angle? What is the breath work? What is the intention? And notice that my knee is down, so pick it right up. A little tired today. And exhaling down, switch. And let's move into embracing the one. Notice that the curve down, very relaxed. Half horse stance again. So that means shoulder width and a half apart. And if you find yourself doing it a little high, that's fine. But as you go on, start to bring it down, but never too far down, especially for males. You want to keep it about shoulder width and a half apart. I have a little mat separator here between training area in the room and work area. So I'll set the camera up a little differently. Remember the fingers, middle fingers as high as the shoulders, shoulder blades pushing forward. All the breath holds the color visualization in the soft part of the arms, and exhale pushes out the hard part of the arm. At least 6 breaths. And then palms facing up. This is holding the golden bowl. And with this, we switch to big orbit breathing, which you remind yourself of the slight tension in the anus, the tongue on the ceiling of the mouth, and we inhale, roll the color up the front of the body from the toes to the top of the head, like a tidal wave. Exhale, roll it down from the head to the heels, like a waterfall down your back. So up the front, down the back. However, if you train Tai Chi and you have a teacher that's told you to do the exact opposite, up the back, down the front, then do that here. Remember, this is part of traditional Chinese medicine theory. The conception vessel going up and down the front of the body, down the governing vessel, up and down the back of the body. And the tension in the anus and the tongue and the ceiling of the mouth are like the positive, negative points of a battery. And they connect those two and helps the big orbit flow more smoothly. All that energy on the front and the back of the body. Remember, at least 6 breaths, finishing up. Inhaling out. And look, we're going into what looks like hugging the tree, but we're going to exhale and do the crank. Inhaling up. Exhale. Eye on the middle finger of the top hand. Exhale. Come a little closer. Inhaling up. Exhale. Inhaling up. Exhale. Now, there's a lot of stuff happening here. And I'll give notes. And you can, whatever you pick up on, drill that and then rewatch the video for the extra notes. Inhaling up. Exhale. Remember, this hand, the elbow softens. The fingers should feel like they're sticking, gently pulling something down. Inhaling up. Inflating the hand that's down the bottom, like Tai Chi reverse breathing. Inhaling up. So you inflate the triceps slightly here. And this helps you push through your opponent's shoulders. And then this hand takes over, does the same thing that the previous one did. Inhaling up, that's the inflation, exhale. So you inhale up, inflate, and that pushing through the shoulders continues as you turn the waist. So there's minimal movement. You're not pushing all the way through the shoulders by moving the arm. You're pushing with the waist and the hips and the structure and the intention of the fingers reaching. My fingers reach, not my entire arm reaches. So I'm reaching through the shoulders and I'm pulling down up. Inhaling up, I'm pulling one side of the shoulders, exhale, pushing to the other side. And I'm turning the shoulders like a wheel. My opponent's shoulders. Inhaling up. And of course, you don't want to get so stuck on the application of a move, of any Neigong move, that it prevents you from feeling the circulation of the energy. It's great to be able to leave the application behind, but to be able to know it. And there we have many drills on the channel for the crank, many variations. Notice that my head doesn't turn, it stays aligned with my heart. Notice that my middle finger that I'm looking at that's turning, it's going down, only slightly comes in front of the heart at the end. So my heart, look at the angle, heart. Notice that my chest is turned, my body's turned about 45 degrees. Inhaling up. And that turn, again, these are really minute details, but as that turn completes, the shoulder blade finishes disappearing in the upper back. That's what brings this middle finger to in front of my heart. Yeah. So now my shoulder blade on this side fully in, and this side, obviously it's not. The shoulder blade's sticking out because this elbow is completely relaxed downward. It's not relaxed downward and pushed forward, which would look like that. And that's not to say that you can't do that. There are many times where I might throw somebody like that, and it'll be like a longer distance throw if you see it from this angle. Pretty cool. But here we're just going to relax downward, inhaling up. And this is very similar to the Greco-Roman toss, where you pull the person to you and you lift them with your belly or your hip and you drop them on the ground. Very, very similar, but this is even more of a timing finesse in terms of your opponent's upper body. You're not using your body to cut into theirs. You're not using the belly, and that's a great variation. These are all just different ways of accomplishing getting somebody on the ground. And now let's stay seated, inhaling out. And I would love to show, actually, I've never shown this before on here. Let me show you guys, Rami, you ready to train? Let me show you guys this variation of the crank. Now, this variation of the crank it's actually, there's a live version of it during the tournament, the 2004 Tai Chi World Cup. You guys know Hinton Rami Wells, Sancho champion, wonderful guy. So this version of the crank, let me get his head in. This version of the crank, you can see the buffalo who fought my coach, Josh Waitskin. He does this version of the crank so beautifully in a video. If I find the video, I'll put a link to it in the description. But it's one of his matches in a tournament on another opponent. And they do this very much like judo, meaning that it's step, step, step crank, or it's step, step crank. So what happens is you have you're in your 50-50 clinch here, or maybe you're playing push hands here. So this is still a 50-50 clinch. It's just not necessarily on the elbow. Now you're on one's on the inside control, one's on the outside. So you're playing here, and the steps would be, let me lower this. Let's look at the legs for a second. So I'm going to step back, and Rami's going to step forward. Boom. And I'm going to step back. He's going to step forward. And now I'm going to step forward. He's going to step back. I'm going to step forward. He's going to step back. So they'll do a drill like this. And what will happen is 1, 2, 3. And notice that cut, that little cut there, that stagger. So we'll do it again. So step back. And I'll step forward. 1, 2, and 3. Boom, boom. This little check right here. See this little check right here. So he's stepping, he's slicing with the thigh in. This part of the thigh slices into the opponent's thigh. Now, the reason how this connects to the crank is that the upper body is doing this. So we're going to step back, step forward. 1, 2, 3, boom. And you get this little, from here, you get this wonderful little step back, cut. So notice that that's the crank happening while the thigh is cutting at the same time. So you are stepping and cranking at the same time. And let's turn this into a Neigong exercise. And of course, we just did this, and like there's the mats are over here, but there's not too much space to do that. We could do it. But what's really important is turning this into a Neigong exercise. We'll make a formal video on this exercise as a push hands drill. But let's turn this into a Neigong exercise. So here we are. So now we're going to take the crank, which we were doing here, and we've done here. We've done all these different variations in the past in other videos. But now we're going to do 50-50 clinch, and we're going to turn it into a crank. So you can pick which side that you're on. Sometimes when you're stepping and you're doing push hands, you might be playing around with a guy, and the shoulders maybe, you may not keep the same 50-50 as you step forward like I just did. However, you might. So for this version, we'll keep it like that. I'm going to keep my left hand on the inside control, my right hand on the outside control. And that means that if my right hand's on the outside control, I'm more than likely, well, let's just do it this way. So we're going to step right leg, and then right, left, right. On that, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's the rhythm we'll go with. Yeah. So my left leg's forward. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and crank. And then reset. And again, you can do many different variations of this because the thing that you're really training is the 1, 2, 3. The 1, 2, 3 is the big crank. So we'll minimize it to that in a second, but let's just get this rhythm going. 1, 2, 1, 2. Exhale, drop and crank. The same mechanic. Exhaling, drop and crank. Remember, we've done this in the past. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. So now we're adding the footwork, and the footwork again is when you're trying to edge somebody out of a ring. This is the strategy. You're trying to edge them out of the ring. They're getting close to the edge. And right when they get to the edge, they resist because they don't want to go out. So you time this strategically. You go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then on 3, they're going to push back, and you know it. And that's when you turn. They want to resist going out of the ring. You turn them and drop them on the floor. It's awesome strategy. So we'll do it one more time, and then we'll simplify it even more. So left leg forward, left hand forward. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So now let's just do the 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. And remember on your 3 that this thigh is cutting into the partner's thigh. The rhythm has to go, create the rhythm, break the rhythm on 3. The third one is 2, 3 happens very quickly. 1, 2, 3. So let's go. 1, 2, 3. That's so that we'll slow it down, but just know that if from 1 to 2 is one space, 2 to 3 is half of that in terms of timing. Just as an example, it'll vary based on what you're doing. 1, 2, 3, and back. 1, 2. And again, you really want to bring that Neigong mentality into your drills like this, because you don't want to be so obsessed with the timing that you lose the sensitivity and the feeling of the circulation. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So even your reset, you can make part of the Neigong exercise. 1, 2, 3, and then inhaling up. Look at my fingers. I'm inhaling up back to position. I'm inhaling up back to a position, and then I'm stepping back. So I'm going 1, 2, exhale down, inhale up, 1, 2, 3, and I really sit into that position. You really want to make the movements in between the movements feel like your Tai Chi. I highly recommend that because it really comes into play when you start doing your freestyle and everything still feels like your Tai Chi, even though it may not look like Tai Chi to people who might be a little more, have a more narrow view of what Tai Chi is. You want to feel your Tai Chi no matter what movement you're doing. So let's switch sides. And let's just keep it the simplified version, which means that I have my right leg and hand forward, and the left leg will be the one. So that'll step first. 1, 2, 3. Inhaling out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhaling out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Really feel the wonderful exercise you're getting from the little lunge you're doing. 1, 2, 3. Even if you need it to go down on the knee, you don't need to. Obviously, in push hands, you may get point taken away from you from certain tournaments. Most tournaments are going to take the point away from you, so you wouldn't. But if you're playing grappling with somebody and you really want to drop them down, especially if you're going to go into jiu-jitsu, ground fighting afterward, you want to stick with them. So you may drop to the knee to get them to drop down, or you may drop and then spin with them to land on top of them. So lots of things. But if you do the spin with them, I have seen folks reverse it in the mid-fall. So they're falling and then they counter you in the air, and then they land on top of you, which is, never a cool feeling. It's cool, but it's like, not exactly what you were going for. So the knee might help you brace yourself, but we'll keep it standing. 1, 2, 3 more. 1, 2, 2 more. And we're cut across. You might have noticed that my hands on some of them sometimes turn into little grips. That because ideally, do what you need to do in whatever situation. While we're doing the Neigong, you can really, I do recommend softening even more. If you did see me do the grips, that's me getting used to sometimes being on a gi and not necessarily using all the Tai Chi sensitivity and actually using some grips sometimes. The more skill you have, the less you do it. Ideally, at least in theory, right? So, get one more in. And let's just stand for a second and get a few more of these cranks in. Exhale down. The stationary one. Inhaling up, exhale down. Inhaling up, exhale down. And remember, you can do this with the opposite breathing too, but with the opposite breathing, there are some optimized body mechanic changes. So we'll do that in a second. Inhaling up, exhale down. 2 more. Notice that the back leg is pivoting like I'm boxing. Notice that just like a boxer, the back leg, this is a Neigong exercise, but it's adapted for a more realistic application. And then we switch legs. And when you switch legs just like a switch stance. So that means you step one forward, and that one going forward helps to whip the other leg back. So you really feel that momentum coming up and pushing back, whipping the leg back. So even when you do it slow, boom, try to feel the same mechanics. Inhale up, exhale. And for those that might be interested in how I'm making the adjustments for the lower back healing that I'm doing, I'm emphasizing when I go up, when I drop here, I'm emphasizing my straightness down. this posture down because it's worked for me in tournaments before. It's kept me safe, so I know that this is the right thing to do. So I'm not worried too much about tucking in or sticking out here. But on the other side, I am also, because this has worked for me in tournaments, I am allowing the tailbone to stick out because I'm partially taking this side of my body away, and I want my opponent to go down, and more than likely they're going to try to grab onto my body going down, my leg. So I'm taking my body away as they go down. So look at my tailbone stick out, and then I come right back up, which is very similar to Luhabafa, the rolling of the hips in the bottom. It's not overemphasized, but there's still some of that mechanic of the rolling of the hips that you want to be aware of. So 2 more each side. Inhaling up. And you feel like a draping up. Exhale. Like you're shaking a sheet off. Shaking a sheet. Here. I have a shirt right here from Donnie Yen Soccer Premier. And look at this. Here we go. Just like that. And it should feel inhaling up, exhaling down.
Very Karate Kid. Very Karate Kid. It's like,
or Matador-like, but you want to be able to slow that sensation down here. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And really feel the muscles undulating in a similar way. And that's how you're going to get when you feel the pressure here, you push them back, they're pushing forward here, you take them away. And they go right down. Inhaling up. And now let's reverse the breathing so that everyone has that variation. Some people like to inhale, and the inhalation totally works. And remember, this is the inhalation versus the exhalation. There are 2 different mechanics because obviously your body's working differently. If your lungs are expanding, they're taking space, and there's a time to take the space. And so sometimes I'll alternate, and this goes across all my Neigong exercises. If I can exhale or inhale, sometimes I'll do only exhalation. Then I'll do only inhalation. What I mean by that is that if I'm only exhaling down, inhaling up, exhaling down. Other times I might inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Or I might exhale up, inhale down. But the exhaling up and inhaling down, that's when you really have to, you don't want to make the mechanic the same regardless of the breath. And that's because you're not getting the most value out of the body mechanic, the natural mechanic of your breath, of the lungs expanding. So let's just take a moment to focus on what's going to happen if we do the inhalation. And we'll only do inhalations up, and we'll just keep the feet Neigong-wise, shoulder width and a half apart in our traditional Neigong stance. So we did this, exhale, inhale up, exhale down. But now we're going to exhale up and inhale. Let's stay seated. Actually, no, we'll just stand. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, stand on the inhalation, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up. So notice, if I'm inhaling up here and I exhale down here, this is where you can start to chain together the combination. And this really has a direct impact on your push hands game when you play it live. What I mean by that is that if I'm playing with an opponent like Rami, or anybody, and let's say I inhale up to break his structure or to make him uncomfortable, he's more than likely going to push back here. When he pushes back here, that's when I exhale down and I do the drop. So that concept will really come into play here. I'm inhaling, I'm breaking structure intentionally. Some people aren't prepared for that sensation and they will go down. So that happens sometimes, and that's great. Then you've gotten someone on the throw with an inhalation. That's awesome. But oftentimes I use it as a combination to set up the drop. So I'll inhale up, exhale down, inhaling up, exhaling down. So now we've made an adjustment. Before we just did the inhale up, exhale down, settle, Inhale up, exhale down, settle. We just did that, and I didn't articulate this part of it, the settle. The settle moment is an important place to come back to in the mind. Inhaling up, exhale, settle. Being very much at peace right here. Inhaling up, exhale, settle. You want to be able to find that moment of settle. And notice that I just bounced out of it. Think of that moment of settle as a floor. And it's a floor that you're bouncing on. That same concept we talked about here, where you drop down and then push your opponent up. Or here, the actual application of that, I drop down and I push up. So I drop down, I have that moment where I know I'm going to bounce back up. That's my settle moment. I'm settled and I'm already out. Just like you're bouncing a ball and throwing it against the wall. 1, 2. So you have the same settle here. And when you start to combine the breath work, so I'm inhaling up, now I'm going to exhale down. Inhaling up, exhale down. Very similar to our inhale up, exhale down, body shot overhand. Very similar. Inhale up, exhale down. Very similar. Inhale up, exhale down. So I still have the settle moment. And that settle moment is part of your rhythm. I have the settle moment right here. I feel the floor, boom, and I exhale. And you can check in on a lot of things in that settle moment. Check in on the weight on the heels. The imaginary string lifts you up, the shoulders and hips square to in front of you, the wall, the hands in front of the shoulders, the heart forward. All those little things happen in a fraction of a second. So you want to train yourself over and over to really feel that moment. And just check in on your alignment. Look at how my fingers change right here. A little closer. Yeah. And obviously, as you get used to this, and as you find yourself smoothing out your form of any of these things, it's going to seem to disappear. And that's the naked eye. And it's important for you to be able to always be able to bring it back, to have that ability to know all those little points. So let's do it on the other side. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And we've talked about the concept of the barrel before we even talk about the crank. When we're teaching new students this exercise, we just talk about a big barrel of apples, barrel full of water, and you're just dumping the barrel out, filling it back up, dumping it out. But of course, we're doing the inhalation for the dump on one side, exhalation for the dump on the other. And notice you hear it in Rami's feet, he's doing a pivot with it, which you can do too. You can pivot on one side, inhale up, and pivot on the other side. But I recommend, and this is not because the other way is wrong, it's because it's what I'm used to. I'm not used to pivoting on both the heel toe. The Taiwanese team does it beautifully. Shizhong Tai Chi College, they pivot heel toe. What I mean by that is that they'll do throws like this. And a lot of Shuaijiao guys will also do throws like this. Or they'll pivot on the heels and they'll pivot on the balls of the feet. I always keep one locked. I'll pivot, but I do my best not to put drilling pressure on my kneecaps, twisting pressure on my kneecaps. And I feel that oftentimes that can happen with the heel toe throwing. But again, I'm not trained in the heel toe throwing by someone with expertise. I have only seen it. I've been trained more so to keep one down and to make my movements very intentional for which side I'm switching to. So that has kept my knees very safe over the years. I'm very, very grateful for that. So that is what I recommend from experience. But if you have other experience for the heel toe, then by all means, adapt this into what you do and please share, because I would love to see someone do it with a level of expertise of the heel toe. That's an expertise in throw. exhaling down. So inhaling up, pivot, exhale down. Again, you don't have to do the pivot, but if you want to. And it's a real beautiful thing to feel. Do 5 more. Remember, when you're coming up, that upper hand is almost gently pulling like white crane spreads his talons, or Nagong exercise, on the scapula of the partner, the opponent, back of the shoulder. And it's pulling, the other one's pushing, and they go up, over, and then exhale, down, drop down. All right, uplifting heaven. We'll finish our stretches. Exhaling down. One more. Feet 2 fists apart. Inhale, fingers reach back. Chest up, hips forward. Weight on the toes. Exhale, butt back, fingers forward. Soften the knees, inhaling up. Fingers back, chest up, hips forward, weight on the toes. Exhale, butt back, fingers forward. One more. Fingers back, chest up, hips forward, weight on the toes. Really feel the lift, and then exhale, butt back, fingers forward. Inhaling up. 1 foot forward. Exhale, touch the toe. Inhale up, switch. So when you switch, remember, all the weight's on the back leg. Exhale, touch the toe. Inhaling up, switch 45 degrees. Exhale. Inhaling up, switch, exhale. Inhaling up, 90 degrees. Exhale. Inhaling up, switch. 90. Inhaling up. And now the standing leg goes behind. Weight that just had the leg just had the weight on it. And exhale, push the collar down the leg. Inhaling up. And switch legs. Exhale, push the collar down the leg. Inhaling up. Exhale, feet shoulder width apart. And down, push the collar down. Inhaling up. Onto the toes, left side. Exhale, left. Inhaling out onto the toes to the right side. Exhale. Inhaling out over the head, down the back. And slapping up. Up and down. Over the shoulders. And down the back. Slapping. Inhaling up. Exhale. When you inhale up, exhale, push. It's almost like a wave, washing, pushing into the chest cavity. And you're really focusing on the belly, pushing the color through the arms into the palms, and from the palms into the chest. So you want to have that sensation, that visual infrastructure happening the entire time. It's almost like a pipe, a system of pipes, and it's just you're keeping that flow going through the pipes into the chest. Inhale, fill up the reservoir in the belly, and exhale, flood it through the pipes of the arms into the chest. And then tap around the lungs, more specifically around pectoral major, perimeter muscle, and then massage on the pecs, through all the lymph nodes. And then floating rib up. Feel the pressure go through the chest. And other side. Also on the floating ribs, crane fists and tapping just above the bottom. Just above the floating rib. like right around the size of the solar plexus. On the sternum, 4 fingers, down. Collarbone, either side. It's U-shape, either side of your collarbone. And in here, hook under the chin and squeeze. 1, 3, and switch. 1, 2, 3. Middle finger on the heart. 2, 3. Right here for the heart. 1, 2, 3. For the ears, for sleep, the earlobes. And then up, over, down, under, strong pressure. Up on the face to the side, up and to the side, to the side. Take off my hat for the next one. And fingers to the scalp. Front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front, front to back, back to front. Massage. And slapping. Front to back to front. Hollow fist, gentle banging. Front to back to front. Grab the scalp and knead it like that. And then release and grab another part. 1, 2, 3. When you want to move not only the skin, but the muscle underneath and the bone underneath that, you want to give the skull bones that are fused together some stretching. They stretch every time you speak, so you want to just help them along. 1, 2, next. And then reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then opposites. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. And reverse it. 1, 2, 3. 4 fingers at the top of the forehead. 1. And reverse. 1. And then temples. 1. And reverse. Under the eye. 1, 2, 3. And side of the nose. 1, 2. And the nails in the groove between the eyeball and the bone. The nails, groove, and tap. 1. Second circle around wider. Third circle widest. Middle finger on the eyebrows. 1, 2, 3. On the eyeballs, gentle pressure. 2, 3. Rub the hands together. Put them on the eyeballs. And the palms, you're going to exhale. From inhale to the belly, exhale. Push the color. Visualize it going from the palms, the heat penetrating the eyeball. So push the color and the heat into the eyeball. Go for it. Free breath. And then relax the eyeballs to receive that. And slowing down. Flick the fingers out on the nails, thumbs. Press and hold. Drill 1, 2, 3, and then tap. Center of the palm, outward 2. Third circle, widest 3. Top and bottom, and sides. 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 Other side, press and hold. And drill 1, 2, 3, and then tap 1, 2, 3. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom, and sides. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom, sides. Top and bottom, sides. And then 1, 2, 3, grab 1, 2. Close the eyes, inhale, white light to the belly. Spread it to the whole body. Use the sound to allow the white light visualization to go into the bone marrow. You want to shake into the bone marrow, the vibrations going in, cleansing and cleaning. That's the intention here. Inhale deep to the belly and and you can feel like anything that was inside the bone marrow that you want to flush out, just kind of washing into the ground as part of the intention. Inhale up the front of the body, white light, toes to the top of the head.
And exhale, roll the sound down the back, and again, flushing into the ground, anything that doesn't need to be inside the bone marrow, the body itself. Go. Inhale with the left side. Exhale down the right. Same idea. Inhale to the belly. Exhale, push the color down the legs into the ground. Let the white light come back up and around like a fountain in reverse, making a big bubble around you. One more time. Inhale to the belly. Push to the top of the head. Make a big bubble around you. Yeah, gratitude for the body, the good people in your life, space that we're in. That you're in. Yeah, love you guys. Love you, Mark. So good to see you. Love you, Rami. Look at him right there. Coach Jan's Tai Chi. Please like, subscribe, follow. You can support on Patreon at patreon.com/Jan's Tai Chi. And that's Jan's Tai Chi on all social experiences, TikTok, Instagram. And you see I have the Justice for Hire shirt on right now. We just put out a very big, very important video for the show that myself and Rami are producing. That's part of our company, Real World, which Mark is a part of as well. And it is the first show that we're making as a community of martial artists action series. So if you want to be in it, please go and check out Justice for Hire at the top of all of our social pages, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's on YouTube as well. You'll see our latest video that tells you all about it in 54 seconds and what we're doing and what we've accomplished for the last 4.5 years as a global community of martial artists making a show together. And it's awesome. So please check it out. Love you guys so much. And until next time, if you ever have a thought, question, or idea, put it in the comments and share any Tai Chi experience that you have. Love you.